All right, everybody, we're looking at the Quadratics handout. This is third hour, May 24th, 2017. Welcome to my guest teacher, whoever you may be. So we are doing quadratics. We're studying that today because why not? So here we are, number one. Everybody's got their graphing calculator out, ready to go. You can see that mine's on the screen, and I can move it here and there and up and down and everywhere. Okay, so there it is. And there's a couple of buttons that we need to make sure we are familiarized with. All right, so number one is going to be the second button. Remember, we should all know where the second button is. I'm not sure I can draw on it, but can we see that that is like, is that doing something? All right, anyway, it's the second button, so we know we need the second button. And then we also need to find the x squared button. The x squared button, if you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down, that is our x squared button. So right above it, you see this little symbol. You're about to lose the calculator. It's that little symbol right there. Okay? So when we turn on our graphing calculator, we need to be able to hit second, and then that's called the square root. And the square root undoes the square. So let's turn on our graphing calculators, and you can see that there's the second, and there's the x squared button right there. And what this does is it takes the square root, and the square root is just a fancy thing we'll talk about on Thursday. But the square root is what number times itself equals another one. Like, we know that 2 times 2 equals 4. That's right. We know that 5 times 5 equals 25. That's right. So that means that 5 is the square root of 25. Now, we also know that because a negative times a negative is a positive. That's right. So we know a negative times a negative is a positive. That means we're always going to have 2 square roots. We're going to start off with 2 square roots. So let's start with a problem like, oh, I don't know. Well, let's just go right with this one right here. I see that b squared is 4852. So the first thing we're going to plug in is, again, I'm going to hit clear. So I'm hitting the clear button. I'm going to look for the second and the square root button. I hope you can see my cursor. Anyway, and we're going to enter 4852. We're going to enter that 4852. 4852. And we just hit enter. And we have this really long complex number. Well, that's okay. So we're just going to write down to the second decimal place, okay? So 69.65, although in this case we're going to shove it up to 69.66. So let's write that down before we forget. 69.66. Get rid of this and this. But remember, because a positive times a positive is a positive, we also need the negative form of this. Well, what's the opposite of 69.66? Negative 69.66. It's just that easy, folks. Just that easy. Let's do number 2. I see that a squared equals 4206, 4,206. So, you can see our sweet, awesome graphing calculator up on the screen. We're going to hit clear, and we're going to plug in, first of all, the yellow button. Everybody, that's the second button. And then the next one we need to hit is the x squared button, because that is the square root. You can see their little line squiggly thing with the parenthesis there. And we're going to enter this 4206. 4206. Okay, hit enter. And again, we're just going to go to the second decimal place. So we have 64.85. And we stay at the 5. 64.85. So we should be writing that down. 64.85. And we need this opposite, the opposite of this number, 64.85, negative 64.85. So that's all it is today, folks. You're just going to practice finding square roots. You'll probably finish a bunch of these problems really fast. As soon as you're done, you can work on some other classwork or assignments, and then don't set fire to the floor and all that good stuff. Let's do number 3 super fast. Everybody do number 3. So I see n squared equals 16. So everybody plugs in the yellow button, the x squared button, x squared, then plug in 16. Hit enter. And we should see 4 and negative 4. Notice the comma. I had to add a comma, but there's a comma. And not the comma chameleon. Anyway. Okay, we got it. Okay. Good luck, folks, and, well, be awesome.